Harry Douglas, can you get Eugene loud for me, brother?
I heard it's a party in Eugene, Oregon. So we're going to start it off the right way. As you see, I got a nice duck with me. Are y'all ready over there?
Welcome to Countdown to College Game Day, presented by Dr. Pepper. I have no idea where Harry Douglas got a duck from, but I love it. Greetings from Eugene, Oregon, home of the Ducks and home of a now Big Ten conference team. This Big Ten looks completely different, just like the rest of the college football landscape, which means number 2 Ohio State has made its way west for the 10th meeting between these two programs. Week 6 of the college football season continues today, and we'll talk about it all. Eugene is wild right now. What time is it? 5 in the morning? 5:21 a.m.? They're so ready. Harry Lyles Jr., Harry Douglas, Christine Williamson. Where did you get the duck from?
I got the duck from this random fan in the stands. But let me talk to this crowd for a second. Let me tell y'all a little background about myself. When I played for the Tennessee Titans, we drafted a quarterback 2nd overall by the name of Marcus Mariota. And when I talked to him this week, he said, make sure that the Oregon Ducks in that crowd is live. So on 3, 1, 2, 3. Sounds pretty good to me.
I like how Harry's orchestrating it. Your hands in the air, the finger. Lyles, how you feeling? Good?
I think this might be the best crowd we've had all year. Can you prove me right? Let me see the moves.
I'm just still very concerned about that duck. All right, let's talk about this matchup a little bit, shall we? Because this is, as I mentioned, the 10th meeting overall between, or not the 9th, the 10th meeting overall between these two teams. Oregon is 1-8 all time against Ohio State. But don't worry, the last meeting was in 2021, where the Ducks got that 35-28 win against a 3rd-ranked Ohio State team to break the Buckeyes streak. So it's been a year of the freshman wide receiver. Buckeyes have maybe the best one yet in Jeremiah Smith. HD, what has impressed you the most about this wideout?
I think number 1, the physical ability and to come into the college level and dominate. It's unbelievable, the size, the strength, the speed, the catching the football at the highest point, attacking the football, and making older classmen look like underclassmen. That's what I really love. He reminds me of a guy that I played with the Atlanta Falcons, Julio Jones. You mentioned that last week, Lyles, and he's every bit of him, and he can go. When I mean he can go, he can flat out play. It doesn't matter if it's a reverse, catching the football, running routes, making big plays for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Jeremiah Smith, for them to go from Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., and now Jeremiah Smith, Brian Hartline, who coaches those receivers, he's doing a lot of things well.
And that is a talented group, but they haven't seen a defense like this one. Right? They haven't seen a corner like Jabbar Muhammad, have they? This Oregon team is going to present the greatest challenge that Ohio State has seen to date. They haven't been challenged. I think this Oregon defense is really going to step up and force these Ohio State receivers to really showcase their talent, because Will Howard, while he's been an upgrade over Kyle McCord, he hasn't been all that. So this Oregon team, they're really going to bring it, especially when you've got this crowd behind you.
And Harry, I will say this, when it comes to the secondary of Oregon, when I look at Jabbar Muhammad, when I look at Nico Reed, Brandon Johnson, those guys are up tonight. If they're able to make plays against Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka, listen, your draft grade is going to do nothing but rise. But I also believe for the secondary to be great, it's all about that defensive line. And they have a guy named Jordan Birch, who leads them in sacks right now. Had 2.5 last week versus the opponent that they actually played, Michigan State, on Friday night. But also, it's about Derek Harmon. It's about Mateo Uwangalele. That defensive line of the Oregon Ducks, they have to be ferocious tonight, create havoc, and make life a living hell for Will Howard.
Okay, so you mentioned Will Howard. We have 2 transfer quarterbacks in this matchup. Let's talk about him first. How much has he helped improve this offense?
Well, I'll say number one, all he has to do is play point guard. And what I mean by that, not mess it up. Beat John Stockton, beat Chris Paul. You have 2 solid running backs. You have 2 or 3 great receivers. Tight end, offensive line is solid. What we haven't seen from Will Howard yet is the dual threat ability, the run game. Maybe that comes out today. But all he has to do is play point guard, in my opinion.
Dylan Gabriel's my guy.
Okay.
Right? And we're talking about a guy that's incredibly experienced. And, specifically as it pertains to him today, there was a game that he played in last year, the Red River rivalry. Had to come back, really show persistence in that game, help them overcome that one. You're going to see his experience really show up today because this Oregon team hasn't really been tested either. But when it comes to these types of games, there's no player playing today that has more experience than number 8. And he's going to get it done for them today.
Well, I would say this about his experience. Had 2 interceptions last week in the red zone against Ohio State. You cannot have those type of plays. One of them thrown across his body, the other one laid on an out route down by the end zone. But what I love about Dylan Gabriel, he's efficient. He's going to get the football out quick. He's a dual threat guy.
Yeah.
When you're worried about his arm and getting the football out, next thing you know, he hits you for the big play. But he's a guy that you have to account for in the run game. So I really like what Dylan Gabriel is from a quarterback perspective in this matchup.
Okay, let's talk about Ohio State because we've said that they haven't really been tested this year yet. Only one team has beaten them by double digits or scored double digits on them. So when you think about this Ohio State team, what are your expectations from them tonight?
I think you got to be a little bit more consistent, but I think that this Oregon team is going to make it difficult for them. If you are truly the team that people think that you are, because we heard all offseason about how Ohio State's got the most talented roster and things like that, and they really are great on paper, but we haven't seen them really put it together yet, and we haven't quite seen that from Oregon as well. So this is going to be truly the matchup where we find out which one of these teams is a contender and which one could possibly be a pretender.
So talk to a few scouts about the Ohio State Buckeyes, and it's hard for them to judge them off of the tape that they put on display already this season because the quality opponents are not there. There are going to be a ton of scouts in the building tonight to watch this matchup because you have guys on the Oregon Ducks roster that are going to be playing on Sundays at some point as well.
100%.
Do you feel like this Oregon team can get a win against this Ohio State team?
Yes, but you got to be efficient. I do believe they have to run the football. Jordan James has to be a major factor in tonight's ball game. It can't just be the pass game. You have to run the football, be balanced offensively, so you can throw that Ohio State defense off task.
And honestly, if you get that run game going, I think that makes this a dangerous game for Ohio State because we know Oregon's going to be efficient in the short passing game. If they start running the football well, this one could get ugly.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good matchup here today in Eugene.